Hey guys, Vera Sweeney from Zombies Are Real, and I want to put one of my favorite movies on your radar. It's pretty old, it's about 4 to 5 years old, but it's something that I watch whenever I catch it on TV. As Above, So Below. Now, the reason why this is a movie that always stops me in my tracks is not only does it have a really great storyline, but it is something that makes me like absolutely claustrophobic as I'm watching it, because the whole premise of the movie is in order for them to escape from what they've placed themselves in, the main characters, they have to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into Earth. So basically, in order to get out of the middle of the earth, they have to keep going down. And I've said this so many times before, the way that I sort of watch movies is I put myself in the character's position. And so I'm watching the movie and I'm thinking to myself, could I do that? In my most fearful state, 100 miles below the earth, in the dark, could I then dig a hole and go further? And the answer is no. The answer is no, I couldn't do that. So just in case you haven't seen this movie, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is not the like ending explained 15-minute, how come this, what is the meaning of that. I'm going to link to somebody who totally blows it out the water, did such a really great job on it, but this is more about like why I love the movie. So long story short, Scarlett, who's the main character, has this intention to sort of find the philosopher's stone, and that everybody knows that story. You know, it turns metal into gold, it makes you live forever. There's all these like myths about like that in the alchemy world, like, you know, this is that story. It's hundreds of years old. Well, she believes that it's real. She's found some clues that has led her along the way. We're sort of along the path of the story. She hears some caves, like some catacombs underneath Paris are about to be ruined, and she somehow figures out that there's a clue down there. She gets down there and she has confirmed, yes, this is where we need to be. I need to get a guide. I need to have somebody help me find my way down through the catacombs. I can't do it alone. What should I do? So she's down there. She doesn't know what to do. Suddenly, there's some random person sitting like having a cigarette in the catacombs underneath. She's in this like do not enter area. There's a guy sitting there like smoking a cigarette. I don't even know what he's doing. And he's like, hey, I know somebody that could help you down here. What's his name? Papito or something. He's like, you gotta go get this guy. And she's like, thanks for the advice. I mean, flag number one, but we're gonna let it go. So she goes, finds the guy, and then now the crew's off. She gets her friend George, she gets the guy, Scarlett, a couple other people. Now they're shimmying on down in the dark with some lamps on their head, which right there is a horror movie. It's not even, I don't even need to go any further. Right there, I'm terrified. I'm horrified. Right there, not even a story has happened. I'm sweating. I'm in a tank top. I'm fanning myself. I can't handle it. But as she keeps going, layer after layer after layer, and as you watch this man's video below, you're gonna know it's taking after Dante's Inferno. So there's 9 levels in his story, and they tried to mock it in this movie. And I'm not gonna psychoanalyze that because that's not what I'm about. But as she goes layer to layer, it gets scarier and scarier. So she first finds a random guy just randomly walking, and they find nothing wrong with this. This is what I'm talking about. These people are crazy. And then he's like, oh, you have to just go down that road and make a left and then knock through the wall. And if you climb down that little hole, it'll take you to the next level. And they're like, thanks, Uber driver. And then they keep going down, down, down with this obsession to claim this stone. To me, you couldn't pay me. I don't even care if you told me if you go down 400 feet into the center of the earth, you will live forever. I would be like, I don't want to live forever. I don't want to do it. You can keep it. I don't want to do it. There's nothing for me down there. There's nothing for me down there. And layer after layer, in order to get to the different depths of hell, which is where they're going. They're going into the different depths of hell. It gets more gruesome. There's points in the movie where they're swimming through blood. There's like little teeth trying to bite them in the walls. These random people are being hung alive. And then the scariest part too, which I think is also another reason why this movie really speaks to me, is each of the people that are down there have to address guilt. So, okay, so hell, if you really, interpretation of hell, right? So if you read about what hell is, what is hell? It is true that there are many people that say hell is just, you put yourself in hell and you put yourself with your guilt. It's your choice to put yourself in hell. That's what some interpretation of hell is. Like, God doesn't put you in hell. You, with your guilt, place yourself in hell, and you leave yourself with your guilt to punish yourself for it. I don't know if you guys watch Lucifer, but that was a similar, it was a similar thing that they had did in that story as well. And he even said it, I don't remember what season it was, but he goes, I don't put the people here. People put themselves here. They can get out whenever they want. But they continue to repeat themselves in a cycle over and over again, reliving their deepest guilt. They keep themselves in these rooms. And that's something that we hear, like in many different movies, their concept of hell. I don't know if that's like the Bible's version, but that's not a new concept is what I'm trying to say. And in this movie, it had that same vein. It had that same, as we're walking through this, you have to face your guilt. And you will survive this if you forgive yourself from your guilt. And so a lot of the people that died were either not accepting of the guilt. So they were saying, no, it's not my fault. I didn't do that. But they did do it. So they died. And they were punished for it. Or they were so remorseful for the guilt that they succumbed to the guilt and they died. The people who survived it at the end, they had like this embraceful moment where they all talked to each other and they said, okay, this is what happened. I have a kid and I know she's my kid and I don't see her. And I know she's my kid and I'm a horrible father. And this is what's happening. And he lives. So it's the people who admit their wrongdoing, like the people who got out were able to admit their guilt. And I thought that was really an interesting concept. So it was the guilt concept that was terrifying to me. Like, you had to really face your guilt, face your fears, face that sort of side of you, like the ugly side of humanity. It was the claustrophobia, which even talking about it, like literally, I'm just remembering like those little caves and those little, they're like, and then, you know, you got to shimmy down. Or there was a scene where they had to just dive into water. She was like, oh, there's a pool. Let's all dive in the water and see what's on the other side. What? Who does that? What if there's nothing on the other side? What if it's 9 miles of water? You guys trust too much. Like, I cannot. Like, no, I lock the door when my husband puts gas in the car. Like, I'm not diving in a pool of water with you. So that there's things like that I'm like, you're doing what? I'm like this. I'm sweating. And then the very last scene, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I'm trying to convince you, but I have to say it. I don't want to say it because I want you to see it, but I have to talk about it. I'm not going to say what it is. But the very last scene, if you have trust issues, this is what I'm going to say. The very last scene, if you have trust issues, is impossible. It's actually impossible to do the last task that was needed to get out of the bottom barrel of hell. Like the last moment that what they had to do, they had to decide to do this thing, and then there were, you know, the few people that survived. I couldn't do, I mean, what? You have to do something that is it's irrational, but the whole thing is irrational, right? You're going down and then you're going up, which is another thing that I really enjoyed. So it's 9 levels. And once you get to the midpoint of the 9 levels, everything becomes reversed. So as you're going down, somehow you also begin to going up. So even though you feel like you're going down, somehow as you're going down, you begin to come back up again to the surface. So as they're going down to level 5 is the opposite of the level that they just did before, but it's more violent, it's more dangerous. So as it was going down, it was like, oh, this is scary. But it's not so scary. But as they were going up, it was a horror show because it was the complete opposite of the level in a more dangerous version of it. And so you knew what was coming. You remembered the guy or the girl that was in that level, the people that were in that level, and you knew that they were going to be more rabid. You know what I mean? So it kind of captures you in that way too. So that's why I just really like that. I've watched it so many times. This movie, if you haven't seen it yet, I definitely think you should see it. That's it. It's As Below. Wait, guys, I'm so old. My legs are falling asleep. I'm gonna have to sit like this. All right, guys, so as above, so below, a must see. Please see it again. Add it to your weekend list. I don't even know. It's just one of my favorites. So until next time.